We're going to do a cold opening. What'd you think?
Saturday was a rough start. The first quarter was one of the worst quarters I've seen us play as a team in the 3 years Jeff's been here. The positive side of that is you're able to go do that on the road against a team that preseason you knew that was going to be a team to be worried about, and you left with a win. There's a lot of things to like. There's still a lot of question marks with this team. The running game, you didn't really get a good idea of what it was due to the banged up backfield. You're a little bit more confident. You gained some confidence in your quarterback in that second half. You're getting healthy. Pass pro looked a lot better this week. Defensively, you have a top 5 defense in the ACC. And I think you were able to see that as in that second half specifically, and their ability to disguise coverages and out scheme the Pittsburgh offense.
Welcome on in. Welcome on into the Cards Companion. I'm your boy Josh, joined by my fabulous co-host James. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on when and where you're listening and watching in from. Talking a little Louisville football, talking about Pittsburgh in week 5, looking forward to Virginia in week 6. They go up to Pittsburgh, PA. They win 34-27, and it was a football game. It is a football game. Really a tale of Jekyll and Hyde, a modern-day rendition of the great Faustian classic itself. It's two different ball teams. When Louisville looks bad, they look bad and mean. When they look good, they look pretty and good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even really know how to even begin this conversation. This is such of a hard one for me because I don't like to be overtly critical, okay? I'm not that person. I'm not that guy. I like to be positive here. People like positivity. The viewers, I get less viewership when I'm positive, to be completely honest with you. Mm-hmm. But I don't like being negative. What I will say, for the 4th week in a row, Louisville comes out flat. Really struggle. They go down 17, fight their way back. Play potentially the worst 2 minutes of football I've ever seen to end the first half. Then they go back down 10. And then they claw their way back on the laurels of a Ron English defense. I'm going to say that one more time. They claw their way back on the laurels of a Ron English defense. That's right. Don't pinch yourself. I said that twice because that needs to be emphasized here. Miller Moss turns it around with about 5 minutes left in the third, and Cards end up winning by 7 points. Yeah, my initial takeaway here, James, is we got defense.
Yeah.
We got defense.
I completely agree. One thing that me and you have harped on, and we said, this team feels so weird. Like, it doesn't feel like a Jeff Brom team. But in that second half, I think you saw moments where you saw glimpses into what Jeff might be saying. You're like, I get it. We just need to get that a little bit more often. It needs, like, that full picture needs to come into frame. And you saw it at points. You saw the offense kind of become more open in that second half. We don't know if that's on purpose. We don't know if he's been holding back. We kind of have been assuming that. The offense has a lot of issues still. Running back room getting healthy is going to help a lot of things because it's going to take some pressure off Miller, who had to throw the ball for 51 times Saturday. Typically, that's not what you saw last year or the year before with Plummer, even though Plummer did throw the ball 52 times, I think, once. I think it was 29 for 52 one game in 2023.
Do you know what game that was?
Was it Pitt?
It was the Pittsburgh game.
I thought it was Pitt. If it wasn't Pitt, it was definitely going to be.
Hey, man, sometimes it works and sometimes it don't work.
Well, he threw the ball 51 times, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Not to just boast about how he played. Well, he played in the second half. You have to be a little critical. There was at least 3 pick-sixable balls in that first quarter when they fell down 17-0. One of which was a pick-six if it wasn't for Chris Bell just turning into a DB and taking the ball.
Yeah.
There are some overthrows and underthrows and some rhythm issues in that first half. And there were some drives they would get to the 50, and Miller was having issues setting his feet due to the pass blocking not giving him time when the receiver was open past the first down line. The one positive I'll say about the issues you're saying with the offense is they're very fixable. I think that the guys are getting open now. Like week 2 or 3, we were saying they weren't getting open. There was no separation. You're seeing guys get separation. They're getting open. It's just being able to
They're
consistently
just getting
set your
overthrown.
yeah. But you're getting the space now. You're scheming guys open. It's just you got to get them the ball.
Yeah. The Miller Moss conversation is going. So today's Sunday when we're recording this, just so the viewership knows, is going to be such of a delightful conversation to have throughout the week. There was a lot of people, I would say majority of the fan base, calling for Deuce Adams to come in halfway through the first quarter or first half. That's how bad things were. Just being very realistic and very blunt here with you. Moss looked that was some of the worst quarterback play I've seen from Louisville since probably Puma Pass. That first half of football. He doesn't get his feet set. He's still having a hard time understanding the offense. He's having a hard time getting his play calls in. He's just consistently throwing off his back foot. He's overthrowing receivers. He's not understanding route assignments, so he's throwing receivers out of the route. Just not good stuff, to be quite blank with you. Second half, halfway through, like I said, the 5-minute mark in the third quarter, he kind of brings it all together, starts playing a whole lot better, and he's getting up in the pocket, he's stepping up, he's delivering his throws. Accuracy is still somewhat of an issue, but he's hitting guys at least. You know, he might not be throwing them open, but he's getting the ball to them. And he turns it around. And he has himself a really, really good fourth quarter and half of the third quarter, in my opinion. At the end of the day, I think this game encapsulates everything that you can expect out of Miller Moss. I think you've seen the absolute worst that Miller Moss can be, and I think you've seen the absolute best that Miller Moss can be. Hopefully we haven't, but I feel like this is kind of the ceiling for Miller Moss is that fourth quarter.
I was going to touch on what I told you last night. This game reminds me a lot. It might have been on Space I mentioned this. This game reminds me a lot of Boston College last year. A game where it's
Keep seeing that sentiment around a lot.
Because it's like all systems failure. It's like, how are we this bad? We're down 21-0 against a team we were favored against. You weren't as favored like you were at Boston College last year, obviously. Pittsburgh is a team with a little bit more respect to what Boston College had at that time. But it was that genuine feel from a fan base. We can't do anything. We're not moving the ball. We have to get and top took off them consistently. Right? We can't stop the run against a team that doesn't have the greatest offensive line. You can't figure out what's going on. Similarly to the Boston College game last year, the way back into the dance was your linebacking core making plays, your secondary being able to stay in their spot, and the tight end got involved. And the consistent thing that we see usually is the more the tight ends are involved in the game plan, the easier it is for the quarterback. And I think more so than what Tyler was, because Tyler was really good about being able to spread the ball to anybody and everybody. I'm going back to USC days. Miller Moss is better when his tight ends are utilized. And I'd like to see, as you say, 2 passing touchdowns to your tight ends in that fourth quarter. I'd like to see that utilized a little bit more going forward.
That's kind of where I was going with it. Is it felt like there was a very obvious shift in play calling philosophy in the second half of that game, where the middle of the field has been open the past 3 games against JMU, Bowling Green, and Pittsburgh. And what did they do? They started attacking the middle of the field with the tight ends. You got to use those guys. And conveniently at the same time, you start really throwing in a lot of that small route stuff. A lot of that stuff we were talking about last week, might I add you. A lot of the small route stuff with Colin Lacey especially. You're giving Miller the opportunity to make small passes and get consistent 6 to 7 yard chunk plays. That's where he thrives. He's good at that. He's good at it. He has an eye for it, and he can multi-read under 10. It didn't make sense what we're doing in the first half because we're putting Miller Moss in bad situations. We're putting Miller Moss in a situation where it's, hey, we're going to make play action pass, a major part of our game. Yeah, I know our running backs, they're really banged up, so they're not really, being perceived as a threat. And our offensive line is having a lot of issues, so we're just chuck it. And then he throws a pick six. That's not the style of play that needs to come out through here. Yeah, there's a lot of criticism on Miller Moss right now. This isn't all on Miller. Just being very frank with you.
That first and a half quarter, your average third down was 16.8 yards. When your average third down is 3rd and 17, you can't put that all on the quarterback. That goes on play calling philosophy. That goes on bad penalties. As we touched on in the pregame space, if you were on there on Twitter, you can't have drive-in penalties, and you saw at least 5 of those in the first 6 drives of that game.
Yeah. I mean, you're shooting yourself in the foot. I'm not going to harp very much on the running backs or on the running game. Those guys, they're hurt. That's the easiest way to put it. They're hurt. It's a hell of an effort to be out there in the first place. I know there was a lot of shade thrown through press conferences this week about people showing up to practice and effort, and those words are thrown around a lot. But when I see Duke Watson out there busting his ass to get an extra 2 yards at the end of the game, that kid is being a warrior and he's getting out there. So I'm not gonna hit on the running backs. They didn't have a very good game. They're not expected to though. They're hurt. You're losing 4. You're down 2 running backs as out, and 2 of them is questionable before the game. That's 4 running backs. You have 5 scholarship running backs. Do the math there. That math don't math. You turn it into Cal football really quickly in the running back room. Wideouts, Chris Bell had an amazing game. Chris Bell, that is the best game I've ever seen him play in a Louisville uniform.
I completely agree on that. Colin Lacey did Colin Lacey things. He got open, made the plays when needed. Guy that's not going to get talked about, I feel like I need to let him be talked about. Kari Collins, week to week, keeps showing me things. Like I said, he got open consistently. He's able to get separation. The ball didn't get to him a couple. There's a couple of drives in the first quarter that if the ball hits him, he might score twice. There was one play that was a 30-yard pass on 3rd and 17. He was wide open.
Yeah. Offensive line, a lot of penalties, a lot of drive-ending penalties, a lot of missed assignments and blocking. But with all of that being said, they turn it around the second half. There were some personnel shifts, I think, that should have been made 3 weeks ago that were finally made, and they looked a lot better at the end of that game. And, they were putting guys in the situation to win football games. Hopefully, we learned a few lessons here on the offense about what works and what doesn't work. And we stopped trying to force a square peg into a round hole.
Well, some teams have to taste defeat to find out what they are. We stared defeat in the face for 60 minutes on Saturday, and you escaped with a win. So hopefully you learn your lessons and are able to adjust, because you got a Virginia team coming off their biggest win of the year, and they're going to be real confident coming in Saturday.
Before we get into Virginia, I want to hit on 2 more things. We got some kickers.
Kaler broke his shoe in that 57-yarder.
Hey, man, you're a college kicker. I don't expect you to be 100% from 55 plus. I'll take 50%. Well, you're at 75% on the year, or 66. I'm sorry, you're at 66% on the year. Hey, that's good enough, man. You're hitting 50. Like, do your thing. Ranvier, he's an amazing kicker. So you got some kickers. The return game was solid. No big returns, but solid enough. They were kind of kicking away the entire game. Louisville got very, very fortunate throughout the whole game, honestly, might I add. But Charlotte made a phone call and made sure that we had a muff punt there, in my opinion. And then what's up?
We can't leave this game without giving a shout out to a certain guy we like to talk about, Antonio Watts, with a game-saving interception.
Dude, we're about to get on the defense, baby. We're about to get on. Dude, all right. We've been going 16 minutes here, all right? I could go the next 30 minutes about the defense. I'm not. I'm not going to do that. I know y'all don't want to watch that. I could. A lot of people see the 27 number, and they're like, oh, they gave up 27 points. They're not very good. They didn't, though. They didn't give up 27 points. Realistically, they gave up 7 points off of a long field. That's what they gave up. Now, they came out flat as heck to start that game. That's a problem. That's a big problem. Defense played phenomenal. Defense is they look like one of the better units in the ACC, in my opinion. They're turning it around. When they are not getting screwed over by the offense, they are a dang good unit, in my opinion.
And
a dang good unit.
On the 7 points they allowed on the long field on Saturday, they still made the right play. Vari Mack was where he needed to be, and he knocked the ball down. Sometimes the offensive player makes the better play. So it wasn't like they were just beat. The defense played well all game long, and it gave the offense time to figure itself out. What's the old saying? Good teams know how to win ugly. That was an ugly one you were in Saturday. Learn your lessons and move on.
Screw it. Yeah, the thing I would say about the defense, yeah, you gave up 27 points. You also had 5 turnovers.
Mhm.
I'll take that 5 turnover number every day. Made Holstein look extremely uncomfortable. Ron English really dialed up a lot of pressure in this game, which I think is the key to this defense, and that's why it's been performing so well. Just amazing things. And like you hit on, man, Antonio Watts. This can't be a Cards Companion show without talking about him. That kid is the ultimate glue guy in that defense, and he is having himself a year.
I will say that
I
I'll say
almost had.
this.
Oh, what's up?
This sums up Antonio Watts. He played hurt Saturday. He's on injury
Mhm.
report majority of the week. And injured Antonio Watts, I'm taking him over 80% of linebackers in the country.
Yeah. It's getting to that point, man. And the secondary was tested. There was a few busts. There was a few busts. But there was also just kind of what you said, a lot of plays where, hey man, they're just getting beat out there.
Mhm.
Which that will come with time. That adjustment, that'll come with time. But defense, man, I have very few bad things to say at this point in time. That's just me being personal. Other than that, though, anything to really hit on the Pittsburgh game? Anything more you want to talk about?
Offensive line, we touched on drastic improvements in the mid third quarter to fourth quarter there. Pass pro, something we've hit on, had some issues. You still had some issues, but you saw Miller a little bit more comfortable in the offense, being able to move around. He wasn't as statuish in that fourth quarter. You're gonna have to do that a little bit more. The offensive line's gonna come. Sylvester's still only been back a week. This was the first time he actually had a little bit higher of a snap count. Kritsky, him being back is gonna help a lot of things in their running game, play action, as you saw in that fourth quarter on that big touchdown. Just gotta keep improving. Your offensive line's gonna come. You've seen it ever since certain people have been in there on that staff. It's going to come. Just keep improving. The defense is going to be able to be what you can rely on. It's going to keep you in games as you figure out the offense side of the ball. You've got the right coaches there to be able to fix things. Big week. If you can't, one thing before we talk about this, all week we said you're on the road. It's your first road game of the year. You bring in over 30 new people to this roster. It's a conference game. Pittsburgh's already lost once. They know if they want to do anything, they're going to give it their all. You're going to get their best shot, especially after what happened last year when you beat them by over 30 points. You got out with a win. That's the end all be all with it. All week you harped on like how you match up. It don't matter. It don't matter if it was a 40-point win or if it's 7. Just get out with a win. End of the day, all the AP is going to look at, all the playoffs going to look at is, did you win the team? Did you beat the team in front of you, and did you cover? And you were able to do both this week.
Yeah, so I might have came off as extremely critical of U of L, talking about that Pittsburgh game. The reason I'm being so critical, though, we've seen Louisville play really good football, and when Louisville plays really good football, they're a college football playoff team. So you just lock it in, continue to survive and advance, and keep moving forward. But I think there's a lot to build off of. I can't say it enough. Big shout out to Ron English. That is what's keeping this team in ball games at this point in time. Looking forward, though, before we get into Virginia, I have to complain to you about something, James.
Okay.
The AP poll just came out.
Virginia's
The
ranked
AP
top
poll just came out.
24.
Virginia is they're top 25 team now, man. So Louisville, they dropped 4 spots in the AP poll after they just covered against a Power 4 team, and 6 teams in front of them lost. How does that make sense?
It doesn't. It kind of feels like one of those situations like with South Florida, when South Florida got a top 15 vote and South Florida didn't get a vote a couple weeks ago. Louisville's 27th in the AP poll last week. I think they came in 31st this week. You kind of suspected Virginia was going to get a lot of love off the back of that win against Florida State. But you kind of said, you're 27, all these teams lost, you're going to get in around 22, 23. Honestly, if you're Louisville, you take this as motivation. They'll come in and prove it even more. You get a ranked team now in Virginia coming into town Saturday.
They
But
shouldn't be
a lot of
ranked.
question marks with the AP poll this year.
Virginia should not be ranked.
No.
I mean that as respectfully as possible also. Virginia should not be ranked. Let's talk about the Cavs a little bit. Do you know what this game reminds me of?
Which one?
This game reminds me of something a lot. You remember in 2023, Duke had just entered the AP poll. I believe they were at like probably around like 22, 21, somewhere around that line. They had the big win against Clemson earlier in the season. They gotten in the AP poll. They played Notre Dame really close, and they came to Louisville. And I believe at that time Louisville wasn't ranked either, if I'm not mistaken. Do you know what Louisville did to that Duke team?
They got over 3 turnovers and won that game by 30 points, didn't they?
They dominated that Duke team. It feels like the same situation to me, man. And you know, I know I was just all super doom and gloom about Louisville football. I'm not impressed with Virginia. I'm really not, and I mean that as nice as possible. But you got a lot of guys out of the portal, and the guys you got out of the portal, you weren't competing with people to get, and that tells me a lot of things about you.
Yeah.
On top of that, they're coming off that big emotional high right now, which is never a good sign, in my opinion.
And plus, you relied heavily on the run game against Florida State. Florida State's inability to stop the run. The one thing you've been able to see throughout the year is Louisville has a lot better run defense than Florida State does. Um, full shout out to Ron English on that front. Chandler Morris has been prone to throw some questionable balls. He threw one this past Friday at near the end of the second quarter, where he was able to allow Florida State to tie that game up and give them a short field. I think you're going to see that this week too. I feel like Virginia's offense is it's a little different. They got some mesh and RPO, but I think it's the matchup on paper. It screams possible blowout. Don't want to say blowout because Virginia, anything can happen, especially the ACC this year. Is just show up, hopefully get the running game going early, and try to avoid a slow start.
Well, I mean, there's a reason why Virginia is ranked in the top 25 right now, and Louisville is not. But this game is a touchdown spread for Louisville.
Yeah.
That should kind of tell you everything you need to know about this game. I think you finally have your philosophy on offense. I refuse to think that you don't. I refuse to think that you don't. I don't see that even being a possibility because it's so clear right now that you know what you need to do on the offense. And when you do it, you're pretty dang good at it. You're able to move the ball at a consistent clip.
In that fourth quarter against Pittsburgh, Miller Moss was 8 of 9 for 80 yards and 2 touchdowns. You mix in the running backs whenever they're able to get healthy, and hopefully they'll be a little healthier for Virginia. You have an offense that has proven in the past they can go, and now you're seeing how you can utilize Miller Moss effectively. And you still have that defense and special teams to bank on. And as we harped on last week, even more now teams consistently know that Keller can hit from deep. So they're going to start playing you differently. It's not just one kick. Now they know he can consistently hit.
So something I want to say here, and tell me if I sound wrong or if I sound like a homer. So please, do you think Louisville has a better running back room than Florida State?
I do. I don't think. I think nationally that should be accepted. I think only a few teams in the country can argue that they may have better rooms. When healthy, Louisville has the best three-headed monster at running back in the country.
Do you think Louisville has a better wide receiver room than Florida State?
I think here's how
I would say yes. Because
wide receiver, yes. I think Florida State might have the best wide receiver. I think Deuce is a guy.
I agree.
He might be one of the best in the country. But I think
agree.
as a room total, I think Louisville has a better, well-rounded group. I think Miller has some better options than what Thomas Castellanos has. And like I said, not to harp on too much about that, we talked about it on the other show. The Thomas Castellanos conversation, we've talked about ACC teams are going to do better against Florida State than Alabama was able to because they know what to expect with Thomas. So, and as we also touched on the other show, I feel like that win Friday was more of a testament to me and you to what Florida State is more than what Virginia is. I feel like it was what Florida State was unable to do more than what Virginia was actually able to do.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of the point I'm trying to get at here is I know Louisville, well, their skill positions are legitimately some of the best in the ACC, like across the board. If you can get the ball to them, you got yourself an offense, man. And the one thing I will say, analytically, Louisville still looked at as a top 20 offense. For as much as I just complained about the offense, analytically, they're still looked at as a top 20 offense. That's what's scary about this thing. If you can get the ball to them, to your playmakers, bring it on back to the new head coach of Arkansas, his philosophy, feed the studs. If you can do that, dude, you're going to be able to score at will on these guys. And I
Well,
know it's easier said than done, but look what Virginia did against Florida State. They had to double team Deuce Robinson all game. Well, if I have 3 quality wide receivers and a quality running back, you're not double teaming 4 guys. You don't have enough players on the field to do that.
you know a crazy stat that I haven't heard talked about enough? If you're counting
Hmm,
last season, Louisville has scored at least 24 points in over 18 straight games.
I believe it.
So, as much as we harp on the offense, you're still getting points. Like you're the fact, and you've got a top 20 nationally analytically ranked defense right now. You figure out the offensive side of the ball, you have a playoff caliber team.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. And again, this isn't me trying to downplay Virginia. I'm really not trying to do that thing. I just, they're going to stack the box against you because that's what everybody's going to do from here on out. And that's what they did against Florida State, might add, with Castellanos. Castellanos was running for his life back there. They
Mhm.
stacked the box hard. Well, guess what Pittsburgh just did? Stacked the box hard. Guess what James Madison did? Stacked the box hard. Guess what Bowling Green did? Seeing a pattern here. You should know how to react in this situation.
Mhm.
And you should look at that offense you ran in the fourth quarter and in the later half of the third quarter and say, that's what we're doing. That works. They're going to sack the box. Cool. I'm going to dump it off Kariski for 7 yards every single play. Cool. I'm going to
Mhm.
toss it to Duke Watson. He's going to get upfield. Lacey, he's going to run a 3-yard out. That's what you have to do. And if you do that, I don't see Virginia stopping you. Honestly,
Mhm.
I just don't see it. I don't know.
I
Maybe
think
I'm too much of a homer.
no, I don't think it's a homer. I think you saw the change in philosophy. You saw the change from those long developing pass plays 15 yards down the field to these quick outs, these quick dump offs. There was one where it looked like an option pass to Skinner that scored on a touchdown early in the fourth quarter. I think the offense, I think it just keeps going. And it may be the homer in me a little bit in the hopes, but the success you saw and offensively in that fourth quarter, you hope goes into the playbook and philosophy that you take toward this Virginia game into the rest of the season.
Yeah, I just feel like offensively, if you do your thing, man, you're gonna score. You're gonna
Mhm.
score a lot. Along with that, it never hurts, so your guys are gonna get a little more healthy. Moving on over to the defensive side of the ball, though, you got yourself an interesting little matchup here. I will say I haven't been super nice about Virginia. I'll be really nice about Chandler Morris. Hey man, that kid is good.
Mhm.
That was a solid pickup for Virginia. He's so smart. He's a very smart quarterback. And you're not gonna be able to like feign stuff and do all that silliness. You're not gonna be able to do that on him. He's gonna see through it. He's very good at pre-snap reads. Very
Mhm.
good. On the flip side, Virginia likes to run the football. That's just their identity at this point in time. Chandler Morris, for as smart as he is, he has a very hard time getting the ball to his receivers because his receivers aren't very good. They're gonna try to run the ball on you. Ron, we you've had a lot of struggles in the past. You haven't had a struggle with that this year with run defense. That's not been a struggle of yours at all.
No, I would even go a little bit further. I say if you look at the kind of off rushing attacks they've played, AMU probably has the most prolific rushing offense in G5. Bowling Green had Eddie George, and they were throwing some stuff that you're not going to see in the rest of the year. Pittsburgh, for as bad as their offensive line is, they showed some stuff that I think you have a top 10 rushing defense in the country. Analytically, I think it's ranked top 8. I think your edges are really good. Your ability to be able to mix and match on the interior, your defensive line is really good. Even though Clark is out, I still think you have a top 4 linebacker room in the ACC, led by Antonio Watts, who, as I've said, I'm taking him any day of the week if he's up for selection. He's an NFL linebacker when he gets there.
So I'm going to be very honest with you, and this is the outside of the line stuff that I want to hit on. And again, this ain't me trying to sound crappy towards Virginia. Tony Elliott's entire tenure at Virginia has not been good. I think that's fair to say. It's not been good. He did take over a very bad situation, so I do give him credit for that, but it's not been good. Virginia has not been in this situation as a program in 15 years. Virginia has not been in the situation where, hey, we're a top 25 team. We have some real expectations. We're going on the road to a stadium that's going to have 60,000 people on it. That's not it. It's
Mhm.
just not. That's not been their ball game. Since Louisville's been in the ACC, Virginia, for the most part, has been kind of irrelevant. I don't think they respond good to it. I think LNN is going to be packed. I'm already seeing it online. I'm already seeing it. I think it's gonna be packed. I think it's gonna be a rowdy environment because, to be very truthful with you, Louisville fans are they're kind of PO'd right now.
Mhm.
They're kind of PO'd. They see Virginia, they see all the little love that they're getting and stuff, and they say, "How's that not us? Why not us?" And I think that very similar to how when Duke came into Louisville in 2023, it looks kind of the same. I think it looks like
Mhm.
a rattled football team.
I completely agree. And hopefully, there's some more similarities to 2023 because off the back of Duke, we had Notre Dame pretty soon after that. Off the back of Virginia, you get Miami. We're gonna touch on that in a couple weeks. You get a bye week, they kind of heal up. Um, like I've told you, I'm gonna be there. If anybody sees this and you're contemplating if you want to go, come out. This is a game, one of those games that you win this game, you're 5-0. You get a bye week, you sit back and relax next week. Everybody gets healthy, and you have a real chance to make your season. If you go into Miami 5-0 and you're able to beat Miami, you're now getting talked about as a top 15 team. And the reality is, to get there, you have to go through Virginia. So come out and support the boys.
Yeah, man. Final score prediction though. What do you got?
I think Louisville wins 31-20.
I'm going to take Louisville 34, Virginia 10.
I feel like
Um,
I'm giving them 20 just because Chandler Morris. I feel like he's going to make some reads, and there's going to be a couple plays. I suspect there might be one or two breakdowns in secondary. I think they figure it out as the game goes. I think I'd be more comfortable in like a higher score margin if we get out of the first quarter without a cold start. Haven't seen it yet since the EKU game. Hopefully, we're able to see it this week.
hey, man, let me tell you something. If you are hosting a top 25 team with a large turnout, 3:30 game, there's no excuse to come out cold. These are the games that you are. Louisville is expected to beat the Virginias of the world at home. Go out there and do your job. And I think they do. I think they
Yeah.
massively overperform over the betting average as well. Uh, players of the game, who you got offensively, who you got defensively?
Offensively, I think the game's going to come down to I'm gonna steal one from Brad. I think Chris Bell's gonna make a play. Gonna have to have a good game, but I think the score total is gonna rely on Colin Lacey. Colin Lacey and his ability to influence the game in a quick game, even when he's not the primary receiver. Just the threat of him on the field. I think him being on the field allows Louisville a lot of options offensively, and I think this allow. So I think I rambled a little bit. Colin Lacey, I think his ability to influence the game, even when he doesn't have the ball, allows Louisville to be able to move the ball consistently throughout the game. And I think it really boosts Miller Moss' comfortability in the offense. I'm not going to be the boring and pick Antonio Watts every week. So I'm actually going to pick
It's
Jordan
hard.
Gerard. I'm going to pick Jordan Gerard. I think he's going to be able to blow up the interior of the offensive line on Virginia. Virginia is they like to run the ball to the right side. I think that's to a detriment. I think Louisville will have Cleve Lubin lined up on that right edge with Renee Conga. And I think Gerard's going to be able to get a lot of clean shots at the running back and Chandler Morris. And I think you're going to see a lot of pressure very early from Ron English.
That's a hot boy pick. I like that. Offensively, I keep saying it. Give me Miller Moss. I think we had our Notre Dame Tyler Shuck moment. I think it's clicked. I think he's good to go. He's got the nerves out. He's confident. Boy's feeling good. We're going to put him in good positions to throw some good footballs. And I think they throw the ball a lot. Maybe not 50 times, but around that 40 mark, hopefully. Defensively, I want to pick Antonio Watts, but we pick him every week. I want to pick Cleve Lubin, but we take him every week as well. So give me somebody new. Give me Tayon Holloway. I think he's able to get a pick here. I think he kind of picks on an undersized Virginia wide receiver core. And I think he has a nice little game, has a few little pass breakups there because he's been playing fairly well throughout the season. And I think he continues to play well and he has a good game this game. But as always, watch out for Antonio Watts and Cleve Lubin.
We have to give them.
Yeah, I mean, you got to talk. I mean, this ain't a Louisville football video if you don't say Antonio Watts or Cleve Lubin at least once, man. With all that being said, though, get out there, support the boys. We only got so many of those, so many of these every single year. This is a big one, and Yeah, man. I'm excited. I'm ready. I know we got a few days. I'm ready. I want to do it now.
If anybody come out to the alley before the game, it's gonna be loud. Everybody get there early. Let there be an atmosphere for whenever the boys get out there and warm up. Let them feel the support.
Yeah, man. As always, though, thank you so much for supporting our content. This is content for the fans. Please, would love to your interactions. Love to hear your thoughts, whatever. Not, please drop us a comment below. Like, share, subscribe, all that great stuff. As always, it really helps us out in the algorithm. Cannot say thank you enough if you're already one of those members. Hit us up on Twitter at the Cards Companion. We do weekly live shows. Great content. Look at the YouTube page. We got some great weekly content coming out. We have a recruiting video coming out very shortly about U of L specifically. Really great info in there that you don't normally see out on the free side. Highly suggest you check that out. And on top of that, we have our All Around the South show, hitting up on ACC, SEC football every single week, talking about the best football in the country down south in the Southeast. Said the word South a lot there. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. James, as always, thanks, brother. We will talk to y'all later, and go Cards.
Go Cards.